Hello and welcome to the third Fountain Live. I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by Fountain co-founder Marcus Hemsley. Marcus, it's great to see you back.
Well, it's great to be back because I'm donning a suit for the first time in about 4 months. So
I was going to say, Marcus, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed that you've got your suit on for me today. It's nice to see. When was the last time you wore a suit?
Probably February, I think. End of February. I think I wore this exact suit to take people to our box at Carrow Road to watch Norwich beat Leicester 1-0, I believe.
Oh, back in the days when Norwich were good, very good.
I had a nightmare last night that Norwich lost 8-0 today. That was that. Honestly, I actually woke up and just shaking. I was so angry about it.
Don't mention that. Well, we've got an early comment here, Marcus. We've got Sarah Jones who's given us a comment on Facebook. Good morning, Sarah. I hope you're very well indeed.
She was there in the box, I believe, on that exact day.
Wow. Scary.
There you go.
Scary stuff. And for those of you that don't know me, my name's Chris Reeve. I'm the social media manager of Fountain. And Marcus, let's get straight into it. Today's Fountain Live is all about how to win your dream customers. There's loads of avenues that I'm sure you will digress and give us more detail on. But the first thing, if it's okay, is I'd really like to ask for your opinion on defining a dream customer. What is a dream customer to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because I've been in this game for about 12 years. And, one of the things, everyone knows is that not all customers are created equal, right? So, people watching this are probably thinking like, yeah, that's true. I can imagine I know of my best customers, right? The ones that never give me any hassle, that buy all my best products, that keep coming back, that keep referring. And then they're the ones who are the polar opposite, right? The ones that spend very little money, complain a lot, kick off, and so on. And then obviously they're your bread and butter ones in the middle. So actually, what's interesting is so few people go through the exercise of actually working out, well, who exactly are these people who are dream customers? We know who the ones are who are already customers, but you've probably found them just by luck, sort of haphazard kind of way of going. But there are more people like that out there. So rather than going on gut instinct, we start looking at evidence, right? So we look at profitability, right? And looking at over our lifetime value is a big thing to do, because it's very easy to go, well, this person came in and they bought our most expensive product, or they're paying for our most expensive service, but are they coming back and are they referring? And actually, that's where digital really helps, because if you've got decent CRM and some decent data, you can really start going into it, and you can start breaking your customers we break them into quintiles, which is sort of 5. And that's based on the Pareto principle. And actually, you see that. So if you look at CRM data, the top 20% of your customers tend to bring about 80% of your sales and revenue. So it's working out who they are. And then when you can find out who they are, so their demographics, their sort of age, interests, locations, etc., then you can start going, okay, well, where's their attention? Well, their attention is going to be in front of a screen like everyone's is at the minute. Okay, well, what are they looking at? And then you can get your creative in front of them and start filling up their digital universe with your creative, your ads, and get them down your funnel. And it's so interesting because people don't really spend the time at the beginning to just sit and think who they are.
Yeah.
And the only reason I think that is I think, and we're all a bit lazy to an extent. Rob and I, my co-founder, talk about the profit buffer. The businesses that are in profit start getting a bit lazy, right? Yeah, the first job of a business is to make a profit. Yeah. And if you're making fairly good profit, then you're like, okay, well, we're doing all right. Like, this is a nice idea, Marcus. I would love more dream customers, but you know what? We're doing well. We're growing. We're hitting our targets. It's a bit of a faff to go through lots of data and try and work out avatars and who these people are and where they're coming from. But here's why we're running this. When you said to me, Marcus, what do you want to talk about? I said, well, winning your dream customers. Because of the situation in the world right now, there's never been a better time to actually figure out who your ideal customers are and go after them. Because when you actually start crunching the numbers, it's disproportionate how much more valuable those customers are. And I think with people listening, there's something probably each of you would just spend money on, right? You are a dream customer for one business. So for you, Chris, it's probably Norwich City, right? Norwich City come out with some new stupid shirt or something, you're just going to buy it. It's the whole, shut up and take my money. Wow, but that came from the Carrow Road shop. I'm there. I'm just giving you my money because I'm an addict. You cut me, I bleed yellow and green. That's it. So We just need to find the Chrissy Reeve type people and just show them that they can buy these silly new t-shirts from the Norwich City shop. They actually exist. And I think that's kind of what we need to do, is each of us have something we're obsessed with, but Norwich City is not the best example because there's only one Norwich City, right? But for a lot of businesses, you have competitors. And are your competitors taking those very high quality customers off you? That's the thing to be questioning. And how can you take them and off? How can you take those customers off them and start growing your market share accordingly? So it's a very long sort of way of answering that question, but it's just essential to be able to identify who your target audience are, but not just your average, just the ones that will bring you the most profit disproportionately.
Now that's great, Marcus. There's tons of value there already, as predicted. I knew there would be. I've got a couple of comments off the back of that, which I'd like you to give me a little detail on. Actually, one is it actually potentially damaging to your business to take the wrong type of business on board? And at the moment, I think probably more than ever before, I think there is an element of scarcity within the corporate world, full stop, because it's a case of if someone's offering you money, you take it because you're worried about the unpredictability of various different industries at the moment. What's your sort of take on that, on being a bit scared or maybe just taking the wrong type of customer on just for that sort of short-term money profit, as you say, the profit buffer? How does that sit with you?
Yeah, and we've all been there, right? And we're going through it at the minute, and even Fountain, to an extent, we're taking on a few smaller contracts that perhaps, in the good times we would have said, yeah, maybe we'll pass you to one of our partners, but actually we do have some capacity in the team and we'd like to do this. And it does come from a bit of actually all the cash is on the table. But the two big words that come up for me are opportunity cost. What's the hidden opportunity cost here? Because if you're servicing all these sort of smaller clients or these clients that aren't actually ideal, that takes resource and time, and especially the annoying ones, the ones that complain, the ones that keep, in the service industry, there's scope creep, right? They keep asking for more and more and more, and all customers aren't treated equally. And truthfully, the ones that make the most noise get the most attention and get the most senior attention, right? Complaints go up the chain, and it just starts compounding the costs. And it's a difficult one because it's always, it's a game of probability in business, isn't it? If I say no to these guys and take that resource and put it into getting the most profitable customers, will that pay off quickly enough so that we don't put the business at risk? And one of the things our mantras at Fountain is digital marketing is a spreadsheet exercise, but all business is a spreadsheet exercise. It's a game of probability, and it can be frustrating because you don't have all the variables. You have to make a series of assumptions, but building in the hidden costs of taking on non-ideal clients, because you've also got to look at what your competitors are probably doing. Now's a good time because a lot of your competitors are probably taking on smaller clients and being conservative with their marketing spend. And perhaps what we're advocating with our clients is actually figure out who the most profitable customers are based on based on lifetime value, and then let's find out where they are on LinkedIn, Facebook. I mean, with our B2B clients, we're actually geo-targeting areas where we know the office is, right? So if we're hitting up a particular company, we know them and their employees are based in Bristol, right? So let's target these parts of Bristol and let's hit everyone who works in this sector in Bristol. And when people return to their offices in a couple of months, we can geo-fence offices. We've done this with B2B clients. So we can actually run anyone in a postcode. We can actually just fill up their digital universe. So any channel they go on, be it YouTube, be it Google search, we can target people literally in that postcode. And then all they see is you. There's a brilliant story, I don't know if you know it, about how Innocent Smoothie, Innocent Smoothie?
Yes, yeah.
You're a healthy guy, of course you know.
Great marketing.
There was a brilliant story about they were just a plucky startup and how they got into the main supermarkets. They thought, right, we need to get into Tesco and Sainsbury's, right, and Asda. So they looked at where the buyers, where the head offices were, where the buying department was, and they actually worked out who the buyers were and the likely routes they took into work every day, and they just bought up all the billboards on those roads about Innocent Smoothie. And all of a sudden, there's a thing of, well, hold on a second, how do I not know about Innocent Smoothie? And gosh, that means all of my competitors have bought Innocent Smoothie and they're so successful, they're on all the billboards. And all Innocent Smoothie did was just fill up their, in that person's reality, all the billboards and advertising around them. And I think that's what we're trying to do digitally. You can do that. And I'm not saying you should shut off your bread and butter marketing. No, on the contrary. But you should be looking at a really focused campaign that brings more profitable clients. I mean, if you're in the service business like us, there's a really good way of working that out. You look at revenue versus cost to serve, right? So in an ideal world, you want people who bring in high revenue but low cost to serve, and you can do sort of a matrix there. Because the people that bring in low revenue and a high cost to serve, then that's a problem. But you want high revenue, low cost to serve, and you can just start plotting out. And I think if people are watching this, I'd just say, look, it's such a good investment to just take an hour, 90 minutes, get a team together and just say, look, who are the best customers we've ever had based on lifetime value and profit? What are the similarities? What are the products they're buying? And then and then start figuring out, well, how can we find more people like them? And there's some few strategies. I'm sure you're probably about to ask me about that. What strategies you can do to find them? I mean, there's a great example is obviously Facebook lookalike audiences, right? And Google do a similar one. They call it customer match. You can upload email accounts from Google and actual sort of Facebook customers, and Facebook and Google will find people who are exactly the same in terms of their behavior and interests when they're logged in as well. And that is so powerful. There was I think a study done about 3 or 4 years ago. You'd probably be aware of this, Chris, but it shows that if you've liked more than 300 things on Facebook, Facebook is more accurate at forecasting your preferences on a survey than your other half.
Wow, I actually didn't know that. That's
Did you not?
No, I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
I mean, who here watching hasn't liked more than 300 posts or on Facebook? Everyone, if you've got a Facebook account, 300 is done in the first week, right? So that's it. And I think it was like if you've liked more than 50, it's your best friend. If more than 100, it's your mother and your dad. And then more than 300, it's your spouse. The Facebook. So there's like a questionnaire of like 90 questions, and then it's what would you prefer, like cat, dog, mouse, or something like that. And you just go through all these silly questions. And then your spouse has to try and think what you would put, and Facebook's better at predicting it. So they will find, and sometimes actually lookalike audiences convert better than your existing audience on the data we've seen. So it's just finding those. It's not just your average customers; it's the ones that are so much better that I'm really trying to impress on people today.
So Marcus, you've already seamlessly gone into the next segment there.
Sorry.
How to? Yeah, it's great. I mean, I may as well, not even be in the room. It's great. I mean, I'll just let you talk, and I'll exit the broadcast studio and let you crack on. And
go buy some Norwich City merchandise. It's fine.
One of the observations that I wanted to say, and I do empathise with a lot of people at the moment, because a lot of the things that we're talking about require an element of bravery, I think, actually, because the innocent technique is brave, it's bold, and it's certainly different. And I think that's the key is, what can you do that's different, as well as the technical stuff. And I think that is an important element that we should probably appreciate. But moving on to, Marcus, how to win your dream customers. I know that you've spoken a lot about Facebook lookalike audiences. Is there more on that, or is there any other techniques for actually not just big businesses, Marcus, small and medium as well? How do you win your dream customers?
Okay, well, you've just got to get in front of them, right? So it's figuring out where their attention is. Okay, so lookalike audience is one, geo-targeting is another. You go through different platforms, right? So obviously Google search, you can people just think of keywords, right? But you can also layer it with lookalike audience. You can also do age, for example. So I might put an ad out saying anyone looking for a pay-per-click agency. Well, I'll put a fountain ad, but I want to speak to someone who actually is the decision maker with budgets. So anyone under the age of 35, no disrespect, Chris, the ad's not going to appear for you guys, right? And I want it to appear in particular parts of London, where I think that businesses will be. So you can really start narrowing it down. And I think there's, LinkedIn, if you're B2B, is absolutely brilliant tool. People say, oh, well, the cost per clicks are high, but, it's all relative. It's done by bidding. And it works incredibly well for us, as you know, because on LinkedIn, you can target by, company name, location, job title, etc. And it's really, it's just surrounding those people. And then the way you stay in their digital universe, and what I'm going to talk about, is remarketing. I mean, that's been so powerful for so many of our clients that once they click on one ad, you can add a cookie to their browser and pixelate them and then just follow them around across multiple channels. And as they click again, they're added for another either 180 days on the social media platforms or 540 on Google and YouTube. And then you can almost like a drip feed email sequence. You can just show them different stuff depending on what they click on and their interest. But the big thing I think on the how is it's got to be helpful content, because there is a thing of being bold and just going out there. But if you just are in front of them and just saying hi, then fine, but you're not really going to engage them. And the word we use a lot at Fountain is the word novelty, because we're novelty seeking machines, and you guys can probably know that as you're scrolling, like seeing me and Chris think, oh yeah, this is a bit novelty, I'm going to stop and look for a second. The title itself, it brings a bit of novelty, because what I mean by novelty is people are constantly asking, well, how is this different from what I've already seen before? And if it looks a little bit different and it presses on emotional parts of us. So the other expression we use is, does it give you a dopamine spike, an emotional spike?
Yeah.
Oh, they've got to feel something, Chris. Like they don't feel anything.
Yeah,
it's just like, you're just another bit of noise.
Yeah.
So how do you make them feel something? Well, just talk about stuff that's actually going to be useful and help solve problems.
Yeah.
That's big. That's everything. Really, I often say when someone says, okay, yeah, these are the guys we want. This is the avatar. It's Henry. He works in IT. Okay, all right. So let's advertise to him. I say, okay, what's his pain points? What do you mean? Well, what keeps him awake at night?
Yeah.
Well, he's worried about looking bad at his job. He's worried about his competitors taking market share, not having the right software. Okay, cool. So can we actually create some content around solving those problems? And can we make it so it's really relevant for this avatar of Henry, right? Can we interview 200 Henrys and find out how they're dealing with coming out of the crisis? That's some really shit hot content. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this, Chris. I don't know. We could put like an parental advisory logo at the bottom, but it's really good content because it makes people think, wow, this is relevant for me. It's solving a problem I have. I mean, everyone watching this now, just think of something that's kept you awake at night in the last couple of weeks, something you've worried about. Now imagine you're on social media just scrolling and there's a post or a video of someone talking about how they've overcome that problem quickly, elegantly, cheaply. I bet you're going to read it, aren't you? I mean, so that's the game, right? It goes back to the fundamentals of marketing that we talk about, right message, right person, right time. Okay, so we found out who the right person is. We now are delivering the right message. And then obviously we need to hit them up at the right time, which, is when they're on the screen, when they're, engaged in this. And then we just need to stay front of mind and try and get them down our sales and marketing funnel, offering value, selling the next step.
Yeah.
And that's it. But a lot of the time, people, especially on social media, as Chris, they're looking for information. They haven't got their wallet out, and that's fine. So you need to be giving them information. You need to be meeting them where they are. Yeah. The reason we love pay-per-click in terms of paid search is obviously there's intent when people are putting those keywords in. But, it's just about meeting those needs and making people feel something about you in a positive way, that you're helpful, you're kind, and then staying front of mind of those people and prioritizing that funnel because it brings the best customers based on the data we have.
There's some fantastic psychological elements there, Marcus. There really is. Without going into too much detail, I think a mistake that people are making from my personal observations is people are boosting stuff on Facebook here and there for 50 quid here, 50 quid there, and they're boosting it to what they perceive as their target market. But there's not been enough research into that, and then I think that's kind of what you're alluding to. Actually, is that this might be a bit top heavy to win your dream customers because you're going to need to do some extensive research. But my God, it will be worth it in the end. But the other thing for me is, LinkedIn, for example, is such a fantastic platform to get really, really detailed with your targeting. If you want to win your dream customer, you have to know everything about them. And I think what people make the mistake of doing, Marcus, interesting to get your take, but from my point of view, they know what age group they are roughly. They know the industry they're in. They know the organization that they work for. But do they know what chocolate bar they eat? Do they know what they spend their money on at the weekend? And I see a massive problem actually in terms of paid ads, because I think a lot of people are wasting money on really broad targeting, but then they moan that they're not attracting their dream customer. What's your take on that?
Yeah, specific is a real cliche, but specific is terrific, right? The more you know, and there is an element of just, really understanding them and really caring about them. I think that's the other thing. It's knowing the chocolate bar that they eat because actually you care about their health, or you care about them on a sort of, and if they feel the brand cares about them and it's interesting, then yeah, I think the biggest problem I see is that it's too easy, like you say, just to boost some posts, just to run some basic LinkedIn advertising. And actually, you can go broad and just chuck some money at it and see what happens. And I don't mind that if you're starting off and you've made some hypothesis and there is a process of narrowing it down, right? You're gathering data. You take a scientific approach of, okay, my hypothesis is I think within this range of people, and let's see who bites, right? Let's see who downloads our lead magnet or whatever. Yeah. So I think that's right. I think there is a balance to be struck. Obviously, if we go too extreme, of like knowing exactly who the people, like trying to spend lots of time researching, we're not out there gathering data. I mean, a lot of clients we tend to work with already have the CRM data. They're more established businesses. So they've been running for 15 years. In those 15 years, they will have enough customers to know actually these guys. And it's often the big surprise. It's often not the people that pay the most first time. They're not the people that buy the large ticket items and look good, upon checkout. They're the ones that keep coming back.
Yeah,
and they're the ones that it says over the lifetime it's the value, and actually the things they buy are profitable, and they're good referrers as well. Client referrals is huge, and they're the sort of people that tend to tell all their friends about it. They're particular personality type. But I think really, I'd be amazed if a lot of people watching could actually say, I've got an exact avatar of the people who are the most profitable customers based on lifetime value. You've got a sense of which people they probably are. But is that sense doesn't work when you try and plumb it into LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. It is getting detailed, like you say.
I think, Marcus, another thing that's great, by the way, of course, the thing that I wanted to again get your take on is I see a lot of people putting all of their chips on red, and what I mean by that is they just focus on one platform because that's where their target market is. So I see a mistake happening all the time where they put all their chips on LinkedIn, but to take the fountain approach, the remarketing approach, and the Marcus methodology, if you will, you need to be following them around the internet. And I see a lot of people they're doing everything on LinkedIn, but they don't realize that their target market is so busy during the day that they're not actually seeing their LinkedIn advertising. So why aren't you putting some chips on Facebook when they're actually spending some downtime? Why aren't you following them on YouTube, Google? I think this is a really important element that a lot of people are making a mistake on. Do you agree with that, Mark?
Yeah, well, so it's really interesting. One of our clients that ended up as a SaaS client that got bought out by a large unicorn in Silicon Valley. And I remember debating with their CEO, because we were targeting all on LinkedIn. And I said, let's put Facebook Pixel on to retarget on Facebook. And he's like, no, we're B2B. And we were hitting up C-suite of the Fortune, 500, like the Nikes and Amazons of this world. And it was like, no way. And you see people go, I said, well, if they're not going onto Facebook, it doesn't cost us anything, right? The Pixel won't work. Let's just do it. And it was amazing. He did so because it was only a select few that did go onto Facebook. Those sort of people aren't really on there, but the ones that did obviously did see the ads following them onto Facebook. And actually, I think 1 month we paid 25 quid and we got like 3 really high quality leads from these C-suite people that first engaged on a landing page via LinkedIn, which then, because they were perhaps on their mobile or whatever, it went straight across to, when they opened up their Facebook app, and there they were, and they saw it again, and they said, actually, the software looks interesting. Like you say, I'm in my downtime, I've got time to read this. It just goes to show. I mean, I think the big thing is with remarketing is display, because obviously people read all sorts of websites, right? And, Chris, I'm sure you go onto a lot of football sites like me. I go onto News Now to read the Norwich City stuff. And there's loads of weird, like individual blogs that write about Norwich, and obviously they've got loads of space for the Google Display Network. So I see loads of remarketing ads in my downtime, but and then I may have picked those up, like you say, from LinkedIn. And I think the expression we use to our clients is just filling up their digital universe, right? Wherever they go on the internet, we can follow them.
Really
and I think some people might, push back, and clients do and say that sounds creepy. I don't want to be everywhere. Well, yeah, if you're just shoving a logo in their face, then it might look a bit stalkerish. But if every time, even the display ads, links to really useful articles that are relevant, that help solve their problems, then you're just seen as helpful. A little bit persistent, but the data shows that works. And if you're persistent and kind and valuable to them, they're not going to mind so much, especially if they're the sort of demographic that like you as a business anyway.
You're totally right, and I think a lot of people lose sight of that. It takes 7 touch points on average for the average customer to make that purchasing decision. I think a lot of people forget that. So even if it's a touch Facebook and hey, traditional advertising as well, I'm not discrediting that, a newspaper ad, a billboard, all of these things all factor in. A lot of people forget about it. You don't have to make all of your touch points on the same platform. Marcus, moving on to the last segment now. I think a lot of people that are watching this will say, well, this all sounds fantastic, Marcus, but I'm actually quite a small business, or I'm way too big for that. But do you have to be a particular size, or even do you have to be a particular size or have a particular budget to win your dream customer? So if you're a small business, do you have to have tons of budget to get to your dream customers? Do you have any kind of key takeaways for those people that are listening to go in action today?
I think even if you're a small business, you're going to do some form of sales and marketing. If you're a micro business, you might be in a BNI. But even if you turned up to a BNI meeting, it's better to stand up and say, I'm looking for this, an intro to this person at this, you know what I mean? Like, it's the more you can do it. And I think there's a sort of cognitive barrier of, it's a faff and I don't really know, and I'm finding it stressful. And look, a few inquiries are coming in my inbox, let's just deal with them. But actually now, because of the way everything's been shaken up, there is a time to just go, actually, right, let's take the time to figure out who it is. And then, you think, I don't have budget for LinkedIn, Facebook, that's fine. Like some of the stuff you talked about, you could do some direct marketing, just write to the businesses, sending them a brochure. You can do a mail drop. Like, all of these things do work to a greater or lesser extent. And as long as you can just, make calculated risks with small marketing budgets and say, well, if we lose this, at least we've learned that this doesn't work and it'll get us a step closer, fail forward rather than just, fall off, if you like. Then I think you're going to be fine. But everyone should be doing it, because if you're in business, I've yet to meet a business person who says, I never do any sales or marketing, I think it's stupid. And even if like the only thing they do is by word of mouth, well, even then you can mention to people who are happy customers, well, I'd love to get some more people like you. Do you have any friends who, so the fundamentals are just there. But because I've spent the last sort of 12 years studying, obsessing about the fastest growing companies and what they do differently, that's such a big part of it, is having the systems in place to get more and more profitable customers, and then working back down that sort of tail of profitability based on lifetime value and prioritizing these ones. We always say optimization is about prioritization, but prioritizing those. And then, the actual methods to speak to them will vary from, writing to them to actually doing the more sort of digital marketing side of things that we talked about today, with remarketing and filling up their digital universe via different channels. But fundamentals are still the same. And it just, at a time when your competitors are panicking and perhaps even more scared than usual to spend on marketing, and I've got no idea who the most profitable customers are based on lifetime value, this is the time for you to go, actually, right, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to have some test budgets. I'm going to start experimenting, and I'm going to take that market share, because, well, they're fearful. I'm going to get greedy.
Marcus, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I'm quite conscious of the fact that you've got an important board meeting in precisely 2 minutes, so we'll need to wrap it up now. Thank you for your time.
More fun. So, no, I'm joking. They're both equally as fun, yeah.
So everyone that's watching, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. We're really looking forward to doing more of these in the future. If you've got any questions for anyone in the organization, whether it be Rebecca or Marcus or Laura or Rob or Alice, our new managing director, more than happy to get those questions directly answered from the heroes themselves. And feel free, if you're watching on Twitter now, give us a tweet. We are at Fountain Team, and feel free to leave us a comment on YouTube or Facebook, and we will get those answered next time. Thank you very much for your time, Marcus.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
And see you later, guys. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Bye.